Hello, my name is Ben. Oh, and welcome back to Josh muting his mic.
My name is Josh. Sorry about that. I didn't even realise.
Welcome back to FPL Graduates. As you can probably tell, it's been a long game week, hasn't it, Josh? So
It has indeed.
Oh dear. Well, we've got a special guest on anyway. You could probably guess who it is. It is the one, the only Glenn Knightley. How you doing, mate?
Special. You still use the word special when you have Glenn on. I'm always good, man. Not the best of weeks, but yeah, I'll take it either way.
Yeah, game week 24, a long one, a couple of double game week fixtures. The first set of them worked out well for a lot of managers, and then the second game for a lot of managers didn't quite work out well. Should we get into the team straight away, Josh? I think you got yours loaded up, haven't you?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, not a bad week, I think, and all considering. Considering I didn't captain Gundogan, I think 86 points was quite reasonable to get. Areola, as me and Ben predicted, was probably just as good as a shout as Pope and the Burnley lot. 8-pointer, I'll take it. What I've been noticing recently, though, with Fulham especially, they don't allow shots on their goal. So whether I keep Areola or maybe get a Fulham defender instead, that's something I'm thinking about on my wildcard this week. A Cancelo 8-pointer, played both games. That was a good bonus for that. Stones obviously got rested for the second game, which is a bit disappointing. Pep Roulette is going to be a real struggle in the next coming weeks. Guardiola confirmed in his press conference after the game against Everton that they got Wolves and then another fixture as well in 26-27. They both have doubles, so much Pep Roulette there. Cresswell, 12-pointer, the man's a god. Anytime you need him, he's always there. Lowton gets 17 points. Cresswell's there, 12-pointer, trying to keep it up, which is great. As I mentioned, Gundogan, 19-pointer. What an absolute great game he played against Spurs. Obviously got injured, but he is fit for Arsenal, so hopefully he can do a bit of business there, Glenn. Salah, 7-pointer. Bruno, captain, 18. Not bad considering how poor Man United were. Son, Pereira, Bamford and Cavani blank. Pereira weren't actually meant to play. Antonio was in the team, but he obviously didn't play due to his injury. Disappointing from all four of those, because if I got any return out of those four, I'll be looking at a very good week, but obviously wasn't to be. So yeah, not too bad. Obviously, we'll go move on to you guys' teams.
Yeah, I'll get my one up in just a second. Pretty similar game week to Josh's in a sense, but we've both got relatively similar players anyway. So let's share mine. As you can see, it is one less than just 85 points, but I did take a -4, so that will be to an 81 overall. Areola in goal, 8-pointer. Again, me and Josh said previously that we knew that Fulham and Burnley would get relatively similar points in terms of their goalkeepers and defenders. Obviously, Lowton, a big exception to that, but they kept the same amount of clean sheets, and we said that Burnley wouldn't keep 2 clean sheets in that double. So we were right in that in our thinking. Cresswell for 12-pointer. I mean, that really turned our week from a pretty average one into one that was considered quite good in both our opinions. I mean, 12 points, you can't really ask for much more. Cancelo with an 8-pointer, you can't complain too much about that. DS with a 2-pointer is a bit disappointing, and you'll see why in a minute. Dallas came off my bench for a -1. Disappointing, but it's one of them ones where I just didn't get the subs for the right way around. Salah, 7-pointer, standard. He's actually looked quite good and consistent over these last few weeks. I think over the last 4 game weeks or something, he's up there in the top 11 players for points. Anguissa is the big disappointment for me, maybe. Came off the bench twice. Glenn did touch on that and said Anguissa may not start. He didn't in both games, but he came on. He had half an hour to impact that Burnley game. Didn't do too much for me. Gundogan, vice captain. I mean, as soon as I saw them points, I was like, is it bad of me to say, Bruno, just have a rest off this week, mate? You've done your work. But, of course, that didn't work out in that case. But I'll take the Fernandez return anyway. Son, again, I keep saying this every week almost. Just disappointing. And Danny Ings coming in clutch with an 8-pointer. Could have had more, but I'll take that. Then on the bench is Matt Target, who, again, I'm punished 2 or 3 weeks in a row for benching him. Villa are a lot more defensively solid than I've anticipated in recent weeks, and yeah, I mean it's a good points week, but it could have been low 90s and potentially even pushing that 100-point mark if I got the captaincy and the subs the right way round.
Yeah,
I actually
go on.
Sorry. I actually had Target before Aston Villa's game started getting postponed a couple of months ago. And I had him for, I think, the Liverpool 7-2. I had him when they beat us 3-0 at the Emirates. And I always had him on the bench, and he actually did punish me like 5 out of the 10 weeks I had him. He always kept clean sheets or got attacking returns. So ending up being, it looks like a very good asset to own, maybe later this season and the next season. Go on, Josh.
Yeah, I was literally agreeing with you. Aston Villa defensively, although the defenders don't look great, Emi Martinez in goal is pretty much saving them single-handedly from conceding a lot of goals. Hence why we've seen a lot of clean sheets. So, very good team to target defensively, because even though their stats don't really suggest they're great at defending, they've got a world-class goalkeeper in goal.
Yeah, I mean, the reason probably why I've benched him the most times is because of his ownership. His ownership is low enough that if I bench him, it won't hurt my rank as much as whether I bench a City defender or, an Aaron Cresswell. So that's my thinking behind it. Doesn't hurt my rank too much, but surprisingly enough, my points tally, I looked at it last night, actually ended up in a red arrow this week. So that's really crazy. Should we get into Glenn's team?
Yeah, let's move on to it. I'll get it up now. I think this is your team, Glenn.
Yeah, I even have to drink water before we start. There's a lot to say about this thing. So first of all, there's like 3 players that I've always wanted like since December. One of them is Gundogan. The other one is Justin before he got injured, and the other one is Cresswell that you guys own. But I've never really had the extra transfer to have them in, especially I think I played my Wildcard before I started targeting them. Unfortunately, I didn't bring them in. So as you can see, Sterling, triple captain. But before we get into that, my plan for this week was to play the bench boost since 10 days ago. The plan was to play the bench boost this week. But a lot of things didn't go my way in the last 7 days. One of them is Antonio getting injured. The other one is Webster getting injured. So that wasted one of my transfers. I had to take out one of them. The plan was to get a goalkeeper for Barton and play the bench boost, but yeah, I got like 3 to 4 injuries in my team, and Keane wasn't performing. He had a double game week, but I knew he wasn't going to do well. So Areola, first of all, against let me start with my subs. So I had an extra transfer. I think I had 2 transfers or something, but the plan was to either take out Antonio for either Varna, was it Varna? Yeah, Varna, or one double game week player, or take out Anguissa and bring in Gundogan because I had enough money. So I ended up taking out one of the strikers. I think it was Callum Wilson, and bringing in Richarlison, and that was a bad mistake. I should have just gone for the Fulham player out and Gundogan in. That would have been better. But I really wanted Richarlison in the team, especially after he scored twice against Liverpool against United against Tottenham in the FA Cup. Sorry. So I went on with that one. So Areola in goal, 8 points. I was happy with that. I was expecting a clean sheet in the Burnley game and not the Everton game, but either way, it worked out. 8 points again. I mentioned Areola 2 months ago, and Ben did not like him. Josh should remember that very well. It's funny, everyone owns him these days. The back 4 Stones, unfortunately, didn't play the second game. But as I told you guys, I wasn't going to have any City defenders because I was expecting them to concede in both games. But yeah, clean sheets against the very, very poor Tottenham. Very, very poor team Tottenham are. Kofal, clean sheet, as always. Happy with him. Shaw. This is one of the best United players I've ever owned, Josh. I've always wanted him. The way he attacks, very, very good. Corners, free kicks, I love him. Absolutely. Keane in defense, 1 point. Well, didn't expect much from him. Fernandes, 9 points. Could have captained him. Thinking of triple captaining him, but yeah, I didn't expect a 1-1 draw either way, so that's fine. Saka, the fact that Arsenal scored 4 goals and Saka got only 1 assist, that was very disappointing. He hit the post as well. Son, didn't really expect anything from him in the Man City game, but since Antonio got injured, I had to play him. Anguissa, as I told Ben last week, I didn't expect him to start any of those games, but he ended up coming on for Lacazette, who didn't play, unfortunately. And then Richarlison up front, 1 goal against, which team did they play? City. I'm happy with that. So Sterling. City scored 6 goals and he only got 1 assist, and he was on the pitch for all 6 goals. that is very, very disappointing. And I know what is going to happen. In the next week, he'll bang a hat trick when I don't have him triple captain. So that was a very, very disappointing one. So Lacazette on the bench, Antonio Webster, as you can see on that bench, a lot of injuries. I don't think Lacazette will play in the City game. Antonio, not sure. Webster, not sure. So I have to change a few things around. So yeah, 75 points this week. I feel like it's a wasted triple captain, but yeah, some people get 0 points from it. So I'll take 7 points. He got a yellow card as well, Sterling. Very, very annoying. So yeah, that's how it goes. Sterling and Saka should have had more. Their team scored 4 to 6 goals and they only contributed 1 assist. So tough week, 75 points, and that has had me drop like 200k in rank with 75 points. So tough week.
Yeah, not ideal. It is a little bit of karma though, because I remember you mentioning last week when you were playing the triple captain about De Bruyne, when I triple captained him, and then it's come back to bite you. So there we go. We move on. Bit of a W for me there. Decent week though, I reckon, for everyone. It wasn't the worst. Obviously, you had the big rank drop, but I think if you're anywhere else in terms of rank, you'd have not. It's not a bad week. 75 points, like we say, sort of what we aim for every week. So moving on, game week 25. Huge week. Lots of doubles. A couple of doubles in there. Obviously, a lot of people playing their wild card and whatnot. Loads of strategies going forward in these next 5 game weeks, really. So, Ben, what is your thoughts process going into this big stage of the season?
So what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to show everyone what I'm kind of planning. And this is the latest plan. I've had, God knows, at least 2 or 3 different plans a day that I've just been texting Josh non-stop since, I don't know, whenever. But looking at next week, the plan is to make 4 changes in the next 2 weeks, taking 2 -4 hits. The plan is to take out this week Antonio and Anguissa, I think. Or no, Anguissa and Brewster, sorry. I'm going to take out Anguissa and Brewster.
I can see you're still confused until now.
Anguissa and Brewster are coming out, and coming in with my funds, I'm able to get in Josh Maja of Fulham and Rafinha of Leeds United. 2 players with good fixtures. Maja has Sheffield United, and Rafinha obviously has that double game week, and I really like the look of him, how he plays going forward. He's that flair player and an exciting one to watch. We know Josh has banged on about it. He loves watching exciting players in his FPL. And then the week after that, I'm looking to transfer out Son and Antonio for Harry Kane and Harvey Barnes. That is my plan going forwards in game week 25/26 going forwards. I mean, it's probably naive of me to think 2 weeks in advance already and know my transfers, but I'm happy with that defence right now. 2 City players, someone having a double, and West Ham, they're always good defensively, and Cresswell's that one guy who gets assists. Midfield, I like it, solid. Gundogan as that City option. Obviously, Salah and Fernandes as the high options, and then Kane coverage up front with Rafinha coverage for Bamford. I mean, could that possibly go wrong?
Yes, I think injury. If you get an injury, you're in big trouble. Hopefully you don't, and also we don't know the fixtures yet. They're still yet to be announced. I think tomorrow at 5 p.m. I think that's when everyone's expecting them. But yeah, there's been so many spanners in the works this week in terms of people returning, fixtures not being announced. Like De Bruyne's returned, I was not expecting him to even be on the bench against Everton. I don't know where that came from. It was just crazy. Glenn, what do you think about Ben's plans moving forward?
I'm worried about players like Barnes. I know you might as well play in the Premier League, but the fact that there's the Europa League every now and then now, like you wouldn't know which players are getting injured. So Barnes is a worry, but he's a good transfer. Another player that I would have loved to own. Probably Antonio and Gundogan. I don't know how fit he is. If he's not fit for the Arsenal game, I would love it. I'd be so happy if he misses that game. But I don't know. I'm happy with the ideas, the planning forward and stuff. I try not to plan that far ahead. But the Barnes pick, I'm okay with. So I'll say, since you're the manager, let's stick with the plan, because I've had you ask us to bring in people like Maja from Fulham, and it actually worked, and I ignored you. So you might as well actually make those transfers instead of just telling us, and maybe it can work out for you. So just go ahead with it. It's good to plan.
I need to start backing what I say in Glenn's preview shows, because I seem to be getting the differential every week at this point. So I definitely, I think Magic's a great pick anyway. I mean, he's that focal point that Fulham have missed all season, and I think that almost for me, I think they're safe with Madger in that team as long as he stays injury free. He's hungry for goals, hungry to prove himself in the English game. Obviously, he was at Sunderland for a time and then went off to Bordeaux or whatever. So, I'm liking the look of him. I also think Rafinha is a safe coverage option in that Leeds team, at pretty cheap. But yeah, Josh, what are you sort of looking at going into for game week 25?
So ding, ding, ding. Wildcard's been played. As I sort of briefly mentioned, this team it will not be the same as it will be at the deadline tomorrow. I can pretty much assure you of that. It's been getting chopped and changed. If I go up in here, we've got spreadsheets going on. It's all going off, mate. This wildcard. So much stuff happening in terms of like the doubles and stuff. Obviously, Ben Crellin on Twitter, if you don't know about him, you need to follow him. The guy's a legend when it comes to predictions of the doubles and stuff. So, so 26, obviously the game week after this one coming up is huge. Loads of teams doubling in that. So it's sort of with preparation for that and preparation for the blank game week 29. So only 8 teams play in the blank game week 29. So I feel like that's where a lot of people are going to miss out on a lot of valuable points. As I mentioned, wildcard's been played. Bench boost 26 is the idea, and obviously wildcard 25. So I'm just going to talk through all the players, and you can chip in and out whenever you feel like. So I've got Sanchez in goal from Brighton. Obviously, there is no Areola in this team, and I think that's because what I mentioned earlier. Fulham don't concede a lot of shots on goal. They have such a tight-knit defence there. Brighton seem to concede a few more shots than them. So I've decided to go with the Fulham defender in Anya, who got unreal an assist and a goal in the last 2 games, which is unreal for him. So I've gone with him there. Luke Shaw, his next 3 games are pretty good. And like Glenn said, he's bombing forward. He looks very good compared to what he looked at the start of the season. I think since Alex Telles has arrived, he's really made Luke Shaw a much better left back, and that competition's only made him better. Cancelo, for me, even though he probably is the most what's the word I'm looking for? Risk of getting chopped and changed through pet roulette. I think he's still one of the better options because of where he plays. He plays in that holding midfield role when they don't have the ball. I think they showed it on Amazon last night. City are playing like a 3-2-5 when they have the ball. So it's mental, the tactics going on in City's team right now. Bruno, he's always going to be there for the time being. So many people own him. It would be stupid not to. Again, United have some decent fixtures in the next 3. It gets a little bit hard against Man City as well. I think they have Chelsea in that time, but they do in the double. They might have Chelsea and Palace. So Palace look terrible right now. So I'm more than happy doing that. Rafinha, I backed him last week. He's been unreal. I don't know how he's only gone up in price once in the last 5 weeks, because I think he scored over like 30, 40 points in those weeks. I see Leeds doing business against Wolves away and Southampton at home. Gundogan, he's got to stay there. I think he'll play against Arsenal. I think the only reason he didn't travel to Everton because there's no need to risk him really, and that's why he came off as well quite early on because they'd won the game. There's no need to risk him, especially with the amount of injuries going around this season. Mo Salah, I was contemplating dropping him from the wild card just because the money that he obviously has in him, you could do a lot with, and that's why. But Mo Salah is going to come good. Liverpool fixtures look really good. I was even considering maybe getting Kabak in because the fixtures wise is unreal for Liverpool going forward until the end of the season, pretty much. Patrick Bamford, captain. It's not coming off him. That's a certainty this week. If Leeds, he gets just so many chances, it's impossible for him not to score eventually. And even when he doesn't, he gets assists. We've seen since the productivity of Rafinha coming in, he's been profiting from that massively. Harry Kane's in there. Injury scare in a minute. Apparently he's not travelled with the team tonight in the Europa League. Apparently that's not because he's injured though, but he hasn't been pictured in training. It's all over the gaff with Harry Kane. Hopefully we hear more about that and we'll update you on our social medias. Danny Ings, great little differential. Well, he's just over 10%, but I think he'd be great this week. Although Chelsea at home, I don't really see him doing anything. Leeds away, Leeds always concede goals. They've got I think they're 19th in the table for the goals conceded. So hence why I haven't got Stuart Dallas in his team. Martinez, Emmy Martinez, I'm fed up of him getting 12 pointers every week. He's straight in my team. He's worth the money at 5.2. I think I've got him in that. I think it's one of the only times I spent over 5 million on a keeper. Mateus Pereira's there at the minute. Probably won't be there by tomorrow. West Brom have four very good fixtures going forward. So he's probably the best of that bunch at 5.5 at the minute. Stones, again, City defender. Probably going to look to drop him after the double they have. I think Gameweek 28. I think I only need one City defender onwards from them. And then Eric Dyer's in there, which is kind of surprising. I didn't think I'd have Eric Dyer on a wild card, but Spurs have very good fixtures. They have good double game weeks, and I think they can keep a couple of clean sheets. So, yeah, so loads of speaking by me. I'll let the boys do a bit of talking about what they think about my wild card.
I need you to change a couple of things. How many more changes are you looking to make to that team?
Well, it's a wild card, so it can be as many as I desire, to be honest.
I don't like Dyer. I feel like you can get someone else there. He's been terrible. He's been terrible in the last few games. So
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, I'd probably take him out. I'd probably take Pereira out and look for someone else there.
Yeah.
Although I think West Brom have like Burnley this week or something. And then I don't know which other team next week.
The next four are very, very good. All green fixtures for them. For the thought process behind Dyer, it's not as if I like Eric Dyer as a player. It's just literally Spurs defensively. I think they could be looked at as a decent team to look at with their fixtures coming through. It's Jose Mourinho as well, and he needs to get points on the board. So I can see them keeping a few clean sheets. Eric Dyer, 9 times out of 10, starts the game. So that's the only thought process. But the two you brought up, Dyer and Pereira, they're probably the most likely to be changed, I think.
How much is Lookman?
5 million, but I'd probably
get him ahead of Pereira. Yeah, I'd probably get him ahead of Pereira because they score more goals or they attack more. And then Dyer, I don't know anyone but Dyer. And then the third one probably, I don't know. I'd probably agree with you and take out Stones. I'm also almost take him out. So those 3 changes maybe, but the rest of the team I'm okay with.
I'd almost be tempted by. So Josh has fallen into the Eric Dyer trap that he fell into at the start of the season with me, where we thought the Spurs were going to keep clean sheets, and every week it was like 80 to 90th minute we'd lose our clean sheet and then lose our head. So if Josh wants to put himself through that stress for a second time in an FPL season for a stint, then you go ahead and you go do it, mate.
They did keep clean sheets though in the middle part when we got him out. He seemed to be returning quite a lot.
So I'm definitely steering clear now of Spurs assets defensively if Josh brings Eric Dyer in. And Pereira, he's got good fixtures, but I think even when he was scoring the goals and getting the points, it wasn't necessarily because of his good play in sort of a in-play perspective. It was a lot of set pieces he was getting it from, penalties and what have you. So he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but can he sustain that form that he was showing? I'm not too sure about that. I think even downgrading Pereira to maybe even I was looking at Smith Rowe. He's averaging about 4.8 points per game since he's come into this Arsenal team, and at 4.3 million, which he's at now. Good option to have as a bench option, and it allows you to upgrade Dyer to one of the more premium defenders. So I think maybe that's how I'd go about.
I've been looking at Arsenal, to be fair, because obviously Bukayo Saka 5.3 as well. He's a fantastic asset, but I just really don't like Arsenal's fixtures. They have really, really bad run of games. I think they face 4 in their next 4. They face 3 of the top 6, and then Leeds as well. So, then they already faced Leeds. Sorry. So it's tough run of games. That's why I've probably gone Pereira over Saka. Under that 5.5 million bracket, I think the only options right now are Souček, Pereira, and Saka. They're the only ones.
Would you consider Jorginho in that team at 4.8 million? He's starting in that team with Tuchel, and the way that they're attacking is going to provide a lot more penalty opportunities, which he's going to obviously take. And with the amount of passes he makes, that's a magnet's bonus points. I saw it on Twitter I can't remember who it was that pointed him out on Twitter. And I was looking at it, and Chelsea are being far more direct with their wing play and getting into the box, causing problems. And already we've seen that they're getting a couple more penalties here and there than they would expect to. And Jorginho is sort of going to be a big part of that. Could that be a consideration?
You done it earlier in the season when there was like penalties left, right, and centre. It just didn't really work out. I don't want to prey on the penalty taker, especially in Chelsea's team when they have a lot of good players who can take penalties. We've seen like Timo Werner's taken a few. Obviously, Jorginho got taken off penalties earlier in the season. Then he's put back on them. It's a bit of a risk. It's just, I think that 5.5 million price point is just very tough, especially when you look at fixtures and going forward, because I don't trust Arsenal as far as I could throw them, to be honest. They could turn up, they could do nothing, and that's the sad truth, I'm afraid, Glenn.
You could have mentioned it once. That's the 6th time you mentioned it in the last 2 minutes. Once was enough. We got your point. You don't trust Arsenal in the after fixtures. Unfortunately, I'm unable to share the screen, but I'll just put you through my team. So first of all, for the last 5 weeks, there's been a lot of injuries and I had to take out some players. There was consistent returns from Gameweek 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, even got to 100 points twice. And then as soon as we got to Gameweek 22 and I didn't own any of the players that I always own every single season, my team has started like falling apart. Not really apart, yes, I had 75 points, but I usually don't trust anyone for captaincy, if I may say. So the 5 players that I've always wanted and I don't own right now, one of them is Salah. Josh is trying to take him out, but Salah, I always feel like without him in my team, the team falls apart. The next one is Harry Kane, as you've put him on your wildcard. He always helps me. Every time Kane is in my team, I can always captain him, like against Leeds a couple of weeks ago. Another one is Aubameyang, unfortunately, Josh and Ben. I feel like every time I don't own him, like, I don't trust anyone else because I don't really like Lacazette more than Aubameyang. It's just because it's cheaper. And then who's the other guy? Defensively, Tierney. I've really missed him. He always gave me like attacking returns and defensive returns here and there. And probably the next one I'd say is maybe a Chelsea player, maybe someone like Azuma, who's not been playing. So those are the 5 players. And also Grealish. So in the next 3-4 weeks, I'll be trying to get back Grealish, Harry Kane, and either Aubameyang or Vardy or someone like that. Those players will always deliver for my team. So currently my team, Areola is in goal. Sheffield United at home, he'll stick there. And then my back 5 is Kufal, Stones, Shaw, Webster, and Keane. But Keane is away to Liverpool, not a good fixture. Stones is away to Arsenal. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. They could, but I don't think they will. Webster injured, Shaw good option. Kufal at home to Tottenham. I think they'll concede like twice or something. So that defense is not really looking strong. I'm depending on Shaw and Areola. The midfield as well. Saka at home to City. I'm not liking the fixture. Sterling traveling to the Emirates, not the best of fixtures, especially after disappointing me. Son, good option, but he's playing 90 minutes tonight against Wolfsburger. And then Fernandes, good option. Up front, Lacazette again. I don't know whether he's playing. I don't know whether he's going to deliver. So Richarlison away to Liverpool, another one. I could make like 7 changes to this team. I don't want Keane. I don't want Richarlison. I don't want Lacazette. I don't want Sterling. I don't want Saka. I don't want Stones. So it's not looking good. And obviously, Ben mentioned earlier, Anguiz is also in my team, and I don't want him. So I had to make a sub. I had to take out Antonio and bring one player that I really want for this week, and that is Bamford. I've gone the same direction as Josh, and he will be my captain for this week. Double game week against Wolves and Southampton. Very, very good. So I'm not loving this team. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get anything above 50. But yeah, in the next few weeks, Grealish is in for maybe Sterling. I can see De Bruyne in for Saka because I have enough funds. I can see a Lookman in for Anguiz. I can see Tierney when he's fit in for Keane. So a lot of mistakes or a lot of changes to make.
Yeah, do you still have your wild card just out of interest?
Nope. Unfortunately, it was the week where, because when Aston Villa and Newcastle had a game week postponed,
I remember
game week 13,
yeah.
I had to play my free hit that week because I had Wilson, I had Lewis, I had Grealish, I had Watkins, I had Target, so I was missing like 6 players. So I had to play my free hit that week. And then the next game week where there was a lot of postponements, I had to play my wildcard. So right now it's really, really tough, especially since the triple captain didn't work. It's tough. I'm just hoping Lacazette, like the Arsenal game, can end in a 3-3 or a 3-2, and Lacazette, Sterling, Saka can all score. So yeah.
Living in an Arsenal dreamland, you are, mate.
I didn't hear you, as Ben said. Let me pretend I didn't hear you.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough few weeks, I imagine, for Glenn in terms of FPL at the moment. But you could get surprised by one or two of the players that maybe thinking about getting out. Definitely is a couple in there that are form players for sure. Yeah. And once they get a couple of goals, the points will start coming in, I think. But that almost wraps up our sort of Game Week 24 review, or a little preview of Game Week 25. As per usual, thank you, Glenn, for coming on. I don't know, you're coming up to more appearances on the channel than us at the moment. So thanks for coming on.
The two of my favorite YouTubers, so I'm always happy to be here. Or TikTokers, whatever you want to call yourselves, or Twitch streamers, or Instagrammers. You're everywhere. Yeah, you're everywhere. But yeah, always have fun here.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for coming on, as we already mentioned. Tomorrow we'll be live at 6 p.m. FPL Fridays, as always. We've got an awesome guest on, a fellow FPL TikToker, so you won't want to miss that. It's going to be a great one. It'll be during the deadline as well, so my wildcard thoughts are going to be all over the gaff, as it were, just then as well. So it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it will be. And at some point over this weekend, we'll be streaming as well on twitch.tv. It might be some FIFA with Josh or Football Manager, something like that. We'll get at least one stream done over the weekend. And I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
I've been Glenn.
And we'll see you guys
next time. Have a good game.